Welcome to Echoes from the Heart, the weekly homily podcast from Immaculate Heart of Mary Parish in Wayne, New Jersey. Each episode offers a moment of reflection, a word of hope, and a chance to let the gospel speak to your life. Thank you for praying with us today.
A few years ago, a power outage hit part of a large city during a summer heat wave. Elevators stopped, traffic lights went dark, air conditioning shut off. People poured out onto the sidewalks, hot and frustrated. One man being interviewed afterward said something that stuck with me. He said, "You don't realize how dependent you are on power until it's gone." That's true not only when the lights go out, it's true spiritually. A lot of people today are exhausted. Not dramatically, just quietly, steadily exhausted. They're getting through the day, but barely, carrying anxiety they don't talk about. Marriages under pressure, young people overwhelmed. And even faith, something that's supposed to bring life, starting to feel flat, mechanical, like going through motions. What happens, I think, is that somewhere along the way we start trying to live the Christian life almost entirely on our own strength, and we run out. That's why Pentecost matters. Pentecost is the reminder that Christianity was never meant to run on human energy. The church wasn't built by effort and willpower, it was born through the power of God. In the first reading, the disciples are gathered behind locked doors. They're still uncertain, still afraid. The crucifixion was recent. The resurrection was real, but what comes next, they didn't know, and then it happens. A sound like a strong driving wind fills the house. Tongues of fire rest on each of them. And they are filled with the Holy Spirit. Everything changes after that. The same people who were hiding behind locked doors walk out into the streets. The same Peter who denied Jesus 3 times now stands up in front of a crowd and proclaims him. Fear begins to give way to something else entirely. That is one of the most consistent signs of the Holy Spirit. He changes people from the inside out. There's something else worth noticing. The crowd gathered in Jerusalem that day comes from all over, different nations, different languages, yet each person hears the apostles in his own tongue. Ever since the Tower of Babel, division has been part of the human story. Confusion, pride, suspicion, separation, it runs through history and through our own lives. Pentecost is the beginning of healing. The Spirit doesn't erase our differences. He draws hearts together toward Christ. We need that desperately right now. We live in a moment when people are talking more than ever and communicating less than ever. Families go quiet. Politics turns neighbors into strangers. Social media makes disagreement feel like warfare. People become suspicious of each other almost by default. The Holy Spirit doesn't smooth all that over by pretending truth doesn't matter. He creates real unity by leading people into truth, mercy, humility, and love. That's harder, and it's the only kind of unity that lasts. In today's gospel, Jesus appears to the disciples, and again, the doors are locked. The detail is deliberate. They're afraid, and fear locks doors. It does that in our lives too. We lock the door of trust because we've been hurt before. We lock the door of forgiveness because anger feels safer, more in control. We lock the door of prayer because somewhere along the way we became disappointed with God. We lock the door of hope because we're afraid of being let down again. And what does Jesus do? He comes anyway. He stands among them through the locked door, and the first thing he says is not a rebuke. It's not "where were you?" It's "peace be with you." Then he breathes on them. Receive the Holy Spirit. That's not a small gesture. In Genesis, God breathes life into Adam, and humanity comes to be. Here Jesus breathes new life into the church. The same creative breath. A new beginning. The Holy Spirit is not a force or an energy. He is the living presence of God, the one who strengthens, convicts, heals, guides, and renews. Sometimes people think that kind of renewal belongs to extraordinary saints, the mystics, the martyrs, the people with stained glass windows named after them. But the Holy Spirit does his deepest work in very ordinary moments, in the parent who is absolutely exhausted and still chooses patience, in the person who finally comes back to confession after years of staying away, in someone trying to forgive while still hurting, in the young person who defends what's right when everyone around them disagrees, in the parishioner who sets up chairs and takes them down and never needs anyone to notice, in the person who keeps praying even when God feels silent. That's where the Spirit works, in the places that don't make the highlight reel. St. Paul says in the second reading, there are different kinds of spiritual gifts, but the same Spirit. That should settle something for us, because we spend a lot of energy comparing ourselves. One person teaches, another listens well, one has the gift of organizing, another of sitting quietly with someone in pain. One leads from the front, another intercedes in the back pew. The Holy Spirit doesn't produce copies. He builds a body, one where every part matters, and where no gift is wasted. But here's the thing, the danger isn't that we have different gifts. The danger is when we stop offering them. When we convince ourselves our contribution is too small, or that someone else will do it, or that we're not ready yet. A parish doesn't become strong because a few people do everything. It becomes strong because many people let the Holy Spirit work through them. That's true in families too. When one person really decides, to become more patient, more present, more forgiving, more faithful, it changes the whole atmosphere. Pentecost isn't just a feast we celebrate. It's a prayer we need. Many people right now are spiritually running on empty, carrying stress they can't put down, feeling stuck in old habits, distant from God, not because they've walked away dramatically, but because life has quietly crowded him out. The answer isn't trying harder, it's opening the door, and it starts simply. Not with a program or a resolution, just a prayer. Come, Holy Spirit, not as a slogan, as something we actually mean. Come into my marriage, come into my fear, come into my confusion, come into my exhaustion. Come into the places I've been keeping locked. The beautiful thing, and I think this is genuinely good news, is that God doesn't wait for perfect people to give the Spirit. Look at who was in that room, frightened, doubting, flawed, and God still came. You don't need every answer before the Holy Spirit can work through you. You don't need to be fearless before God can use you. You don't need to have it all together before grace begins to move. You just need to be open. That man during the blackout said, "You don't realize how dependent you are on power until it's gone." A lot of us have been trying to live disconnected from the very source of our life, and we feel it, the flatness, the weariness, the sense that something is missing. Pentecost is the feast that reminds us we were never meant to do this on our own. So this week, maybe the most important thing any of us can do is pray this honestly. Holy Spirit, breathe new life into me again, into the tired places, into the wounded places, into the locked places. Open the door, even just a little, and we may discover what those first disciples discovered. The Holy Spirit can do far more with our lives than fear ever could.
Thank you for listening to Echoes from the Heart. If this reflection blessed you, consider sharing it with someone who might need a word of hope today. For Mass times, parish events, and upcoming programs, visit ihmwaynenj.org. God bless you, and may your week be filled with peace and grace.